If you are thinking of a holiday under canvas this year,
and nobody want to go with you, don't wait 40 hours to fully fit your dreams. Wait. Are you scared?
What's the matter with you? Haven't you ever been in the woods at night?
Somebody comes to kill you, or you're gonna be eaten by wild animals, or the tornado will come and take you away.
we might be able to help you decide to carry on camping.
If you are scared of wild camping, I have here some tips and advices for you how to overcome your fear. Tip number 1. Plan your route. Choose the route suitable to your fitness level so you know that you are able to carry gear up where you want to camp. Look for the camping locations and camping spots through Google Earth or through our YouTube videos. Do your own research. Tip number 2. Have a plan B. What does it mean? That you have an alternative spot if weather conditions change or the spot is not suitable, or if things doesn't go right, you have a return point to the car park or back to the civilization. I will use as example this simple route on a Moja Shabot. You can start from the car park where you have an easy hike to the summit. If you open Google Earth, you can see your potential spots to pitch the tent depending on the weather conditions and the wind directions. If you click on the street view, you can see how it looks. 3. Learn how to set up your tent before you head off on your trip. Go to the park and learn how to build your tent. Check it if it's all okay, if there's nothing missing. Learn how to do it in appropriate time so you are not stuck in the darkness or in the rain. Tip number 4. Let know your friends and family where you're going. Send them your planning route, your planning location for the camping, and send a message during the day in the evening if you have a reception that you are okay. The same in the morning, text them that you are fine. If there is no reception or you decide to go to very remote places, I recommend you to get yourself the Garmin InReach 2 so you can text your family and friends even if you don't have a phone receptions. And also, if you are in a danger, this device allows you to send the SOS message, which directly is connected with the mountain rescue, so they can straight away send you a help. Tip number 5. Set your camp before it gets darkness so you know your surrounding. Everything looks different in the darkness. Every single tree and a bush looks scary and like a human. Like this, you avoid useless panic and fear during the evening what comes from the darkness. On your first camp, rather decide to go camping under the summit so you are in open space, so you are more aware of what's going on around you. Avoid to try first time camping in the forests where first darkness comes earlier and all the branches and the leaves and the trees making sounds like somebody is coming to your tent.
What's that?
It's just an owl.
When you arrive to your desired spot, consider the conditions, check the weather forecast if the wind or the weather is not going to change during night, and if you are not too much exposed on the summit, try to find a wind sheltered place if it's too windy. Avoid close public areas, car parks. Avoid to try camping on a farmer's fields as long as it's not an emergency, or not because it's disrespectful. It's also because of the livestock. It's not, the cows are not always the most friendliest animals.
What was that? Only a cow? Are you absolutely sure that's a cow?
So you can make the farmer very angry and you might be asked to move on.
Hands up! Move out!
Look for the houses around. If you see the houses, they mean they're gonna see you, especially in the night when your lights are gonna be on. Look if there is no any other wild camper who might be disturbing you during night. Don't camp close to the rivers or the lakes when it's rainy, because the level of the rivers, especially in the Scotland, can rise very quickly and you can end up with flooded tent. Try to also avoid the lower places where you see very mossy and boggy area, because this can bring you also a flooded tent. In the valley is more warmer, but you're gonna have a higher condensation. On a summit it's gonna be more windy but less condensation. Tip number 7. If you meet someone on a trail who asks you where you're gonna camp tonight or where you're going, never say the truth. You can say, I don't know, or I'm staying at a hostel in a village. Especially if you are a solo woman, you never know who you're gonna meet on your hikes. It might be a stranger who is gonna wait for you until you set the camp.
It's hike day, baby.
Tip number 9. The wild animals in the UK is mostly livestock on the farmers' fields or the fields, and the wildlife animals are squirrels, foxes, and small forest creatures.
Should we expect to see a bear around here?
I'd say expect anything.
What about large stray dogs?
That is very unlikely.
The sounds that you might hear outside of the tent might be the sheep scratching her back against your tent, or maybe a squirrel who is trying to find your nuts. So make sure that when you finish your food and the snacks, everything you tightly close and you don't leave the unfinished food outside, because this can attract the other animals and can cause you again useless paranoid feelings that someone is coming to your tent and it's just a squirrel to get her nut. Tip number 10, what can give you a peace on the mind and feel you more securely, is to carry a little knife or a pepper spray if you are a solo woman. I used to have on my first wild camps my multi-tool, which has like a little hammer. Something happened, I can very quickly grab it and I put it between my fingers and just bang someone's face. Or what you can do, you can intertwine the zip on your tent all together, so it delays the time of someone opening your doors. Or Tip number 11. Make your tent and the area cozy. Bring with you a fairy light. I'll do it. It makes such a difference because the tent light is a very cold light. The fairy lights have the warm light and it gives the whole tent a little coziness. Or you can bring with yourself a little fire pit and make a fire, read a book. Also, what helps is take a melatonin before you go sleep, so you're gonna have a more restful night. Tip number 12 is to think on it that whoever you meet up there on the hills is doing the same things as you do. It means went for the hiking or went for the wild camping. So whoever passes your tent is gonna be more likely another hiker. Just think about it. What are the chances that the serial killer comes hike 12 kilometers up the hill just to find you and pull you out from the tent so he can go back to sleep?
He's also like snoring.
What I was scared on my wild camping, I was scared. Like, I had a really big fear only 2 times, but I can't deny that I was nervous on a couple of them. I was really nervous on my first wild camping because behind me was this really spooky caves, and obviously it was my very first wild camping. On the second one, I was scared because I pitched a tent on a farmer's field, so I was a little bit worried that I will be asked to move in the middle of the night. And once I couldn't find my tent because I pitched it in between big boulders and I went to watch the sunset on the opposite side of the peak. I just couldn't find my tent, so I was really worried that that I will froze in the night. But my very big first fear was on a CMD arret in Scotland, where I naively went and decided to climb Mare Nevis from the north side. I successfully did it, but I pitched a tent on a Scarmordarsh, on very exposed area where is no ground, just the rocks, and the wind in the night picked up on a 60 miles per hour, and that was the very first time that I was feeling really fear, and I was considering to get off from the mountain in the middle of the night because it was far too dangerous.
We should die tonight, and we should all die together.
My second fear, what I'm dealing mostly, is the unexpected obstacles on my trail that I didn't know they are there. And I said, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. So I decided to risk it, and I made it through, but I was shaking another 15 minutes after. The same happened to me in Norway when I was going through this change section. My legs are so much shaking. In this case, it's very important to listen your intuition and know to decide, and turn back is not the shame. It's rather to be safe than sorry. I think I'm going on a plan B. And lastly, I help you to understand the fear. Fear is one of the most basic human emotions. It is programmed in our brain, in our instincts, so it protects us from the danger. We need to have a fear from certain things. The thing what basically managing fear in our head calls a lizard brain. What the lizard brain does to you basically is when you're standing on the path next to the road, you don't feel the fear that you're gonna fall, but when you walk on the edge of the cliffs, you start to feel fear because it protects you from walking further and fall down. But the lizard brain doesn't recognize what is good and what is bad for you. It doesn't know that going outside, wild camping, is good for you because you're doing the outdoors and you're spending time with yourself. It just plays these horror movies in your head what might possibly can happen, and it restricts you from fulfilling your dreams. So why to go solo? I wanted to travel, nobody wanted to do it with me. So I didn't want to wait for anyone. I've borrowed backpack, I've got myself 10 and I went out there. And since ever I don't really desire for any company and I prefer to do my trips and wild camping solo. It gives you a freedom, it helps you to learn more about yourself. You spend more time with your thoughts, you don't miss anything. You learn how to make decisions and be independent and you're gonna feel like a superhuman. It gives you confidence and better relationship with yourself. And because all of this, your day-to-day life will be much easier and the life decisions will be easier. So don't wait for anyone and go out there to grow. You're gonna be better safe in a tent than walking in a town after all day shift. Happy hiking.
Thank you very, very much. I